Guys, hello. Let us get ourselves over to bear with us one moment, please. Okay, there we go. Hello, my name is Dennis. That is my crime, so it's my punishment, and welcome back to the Messquerade. This is the second of our solo one-shot games set in the world of Chicago. You do not need to have seen any of the other episodes in order to make sense of any of this, but you are welcome to check them out on the playlist if you are watching through the YouTube. We already did one earlier in the week with Alice, the Nosferatu. Went a lot longer than expected, had a lot of fun with that one. I will make no promises as to the length or girth of this episode, phrasing, but hopefully you will be just as satisfied as I am. So, today we are following a different player. We are following Mr. Grigori Serecuse or something, wasn't it?
Grigori Serecuse.
Yes. The Banu Haqim, member of the clan of the children of Hakim. Yes. The judges. So, as we have said in previous sessions, this is the first time that we are using the Foundry as our virtual tabletop. I use Sirenscape for the music, however, that may change if Sirenscape continues to bug up over time. We'll see how it goes this session. We have most of the soundtrack is taken from the game Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, and is also peppered in with various music from Sirenscape's vast library. I am a super subscriber to them, so I have access to all of the things. All of the basic boilerplate information is going to be in the video description on YouTube when this does go live. Also, you can check out the World of Darkness on worldofdarkness.com. Check out some of the content that we have up there. These games, Vampire the Masquerade is the game we are playing. They have also recently announced Werewolf, the 5th edition of Werewolf. They also have Hunter the Reckoning, which is a project I have plans for, but not for this month, let's put it that way. I do have plans for a Hunter game, and it will be using the same table as we will be using tonight, but there are still a few things I would need to iron out before we can go live with that. So Hunter the Reckoning will be coming at some point in the future, but until then, I think we should jump straight into our intro. The intro, which will begin now. And we are back. Welcome one and all to the world of darkness. So, oh, and I just realized something as well. Apologies. We have a This is me being very professional right now. As you can see on the there we go. There is Grigori. Where's Grigori gone? Yes, this is a delicious dumpster fire already, and you can see why we named this the Messquerade. There we go. So there he is. There's Mr. Grigori.
Bonjour.
Oh, hi, Gregory.
Bonjour, mes enfants.
So, welcome to the World of Darkness. In case you've not seen any of the other set games that we've done, this is a world very much like the one we live in, with a few differences. First of all, this is an imagined world, a shared imagination where things may seem a little bit similar to the real world. There are similar locations and places. Certain people may be mentioned, but this is absolutely not the reality we know. It's something altogether different and altogether darker. In this world of darkness, there are monsters lurking in the shadows. Some of them more monstrous than others. One monster we're going to focus on tonight is a vampire. A vampire by the name of the Grigori Serecuse. So, as we begin to get into things, Sevi, would you like to explain to the folks at home who Grigori is and what he is all about?
Okay, so Grigori the Serecuse was born in northern France, in Normandy, back during the 1100s, 12th century. He was a knight who travelled to the Holy Land to take part in the Third Crusade. While he was there, he kind of got very disillusioned with the whole thing and happened to be found by vampires from the Banu Haqim. He was down with what they were selling, so he joined up. He spent the last 900 or so years mostly sleeping, but waking up for a decade every 40 years or so to have a little bit of fun, see what's going on. Hung out at some really important historic events, just generally enjoying his own life, and doing the occasional bit of wet work.
So it's like he keeps himself busy. So, for those of you who don't know, the Banu Haqim, they were in the previous versions of the game referred to as Clan Assamites. They have a very strong Middle Eastern flavour. We may get into some of the history of the clan and everything at dramatically appropriate moments, but for the meantime, what we're going to be doing is we're going to briefly look at Grigori, and I will actually bring him up on the screen so all the lovely people can see him. We were talking just before the game began about let me just actually bring this up so the folks can see. We were talking about the leveling up, because this isn't something that we did in the previous session. You have been slowly gaining XP in previous sessions. In the previous run of episodes, I believe there were 4 sessions. Traditionally, the way character creation works is there's some freebie points that are left over. Now, for the most part, I, the storyteller, built the characters for you, the players, and you guys gave me basic ideas about what sort of things you wanted to do, and I went through the rules and I tried to give you options that kind of fit what you were after, and we basically did a bit of back and forth about what worked, what didn't. And not to bog it down too much, but over here we have a little chart which basically explains how much certain elements of your character cost in terms of XP. So, for example, your attributes, which are the core dots on your character sheet. I would open up a character sheet, but I realized that Specky, our webcam, doesn't actually have a character sheet. So the audience will simply have to go on a little bit of faith and understand that I know what I'm talking about there. Now, let us bring up Grigori's sheet. Now, you had some thoughts about what you might want to increase or spend your XP on. At the moment, on your character sheet, I believe you have 8 freebie points.
8 points.
Okay. Now, that was 8 points that were left over from character creation. Over the past few episodes, you've earned 4 XP extra on top of that.
Okay.
So that's going to be, you're currently going to be at 12. However, because 1 XP a session is a little bit slow and boring, I'm going to say that if you did something of distinction in certain episodes, if you forwarded a goal or you succeeded in something, then you would get some extra XP.
Well, he did kill a few werewolves and humbled Duke.
This is true. So that counts for at least 1, and that I believe was session 4. The final session was where we dealt with the werewolves, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be 1 extra point. Was there anything else throughout the story so far that you would say Grigori has succeeded in a personal goal or a mission, something that matters to him?
Well, not really, because Tally the Hound kind of called a truce on their little centuries-old argument. So
yeah. So there was no rumble in the concrete jungle.
No.
Though,
of course, this would be up to you because he thinks he's succeeding in finding the missing La Sombra member.
This is true. You did also, one of the things that you guys were tasked with doing was discovering a La Sombra. You'd heard word that a fledgling had gone missing, and you actually found that person, and they are currently residing in your abode. So, I would say yes. I'll be generous and I will give you 1 additional point. So you have that many XP.
Let's see, that's 12 in total, including the 8, and then those 2 extras, that's 14.
Okay. So you are currently at 14 points. So, looking at the chart and everything, whenever you want to increase, say, an attribute, which is one of the main dots, you take whatever number the dot is, say, the first dot, or the second dot, or the third dot, and then you times that by 5. So what that means is, if you have 2 dots in something, and you want a third dot, in order to do that, you need 5 times 3 in order to get that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Then we have things like the skills, which are lower down on the character sheet. Skills are a little easier to get. You only need 3 times whatever that new level is. Next up are your specialties. Specialties are that little bit of extra juice to a certain skill. So on Grigori's character sheet, the only specialty you have is in regards to victims, persuasion. I believe, because it's been a while, that was part of your character creation.
Yes. He is a consensualist.
There we go. Yeah. you as part of your feeding type, you are more than capable of feeding on people who don't want to be fed on. Case in point, Duke. But
Grigori didn't feed. Grigori didn't feed on him.
More of a nip.
Yeah, it was just a bite to show dominance.
Yes. I'm sure Duke has already forgotten about all that. But yes, if you wanted another specialty, and what a specialty basically is, it's one extra dice for when you are rolling that skill. So normally you would have, say, 3 dice to roll in any sort of melee skill. If you had specifically spent a lot of time dealing with swords or whatever, you would add that as a specialty. And so whenever you're using a sword, it would, instead of 3 dots, it would be 4 dots, and so on. So that's kind of how that works. The disciplines and everything, that's probably the more interesting stuff for you. There is a difference between clan disciplines and other disciplines. Now, a clan discipline, that's when you're focusing on your family blood, on the bloodline specific to the Banu Haqim. And for the Banu Haqim, I would actually have to double check my notes, but I believe Fortitude, I believe Obfuscate and Potence are the 3 that are in your family, and Celerity is not. I could be mistaken. I don't have that
I do have Celerity for rapid reflexes.
There are certain things that you would have picked up. Let's actually just let us actually check our notes here. So on your features, the consensualist, it says you either gain a dot of Auspex or Fortitude. So it is possible that the Fortitude is actually not an in-clan thing. So for the moment, we will say Celerity, Obfuscate, and Potence are your in-family disciplines. So if you wanted to increase a skill from your family, your clan bloodline, then it would be whatever the new level is times 5. If this was an out of family bloodline, there are 2 prerequisites. Well, there's 1 prerequisite really. First of all, you would need to spend 7 times the XP instead of 5 times. Also, you would need to have recently sampled that blood. Now, given your relationship with the Ravno Tezi, if there was a specific discipline or skill that you wanted from her bloodline, that would absolutely be within the limit of the rules. You could absolutely learn something from her particular skill set. But that was this kind of planning and this kind of strategy. This is something that can be discussed after game if you so desire. Character building can get a little bit noodly at times, especially when you're still learning the system, but that is essentially how leveling up works. So,
delightful.
Yes. Also, hello, Nicola.
Hi, Alice.
Hi. How are you guys?
We are doing good.
Okay.
Just going through the
Fun with
basics.
Seth. Are you about to have fun with Seth and Grigori?
Yep.
Yes, indeedy. But yeah, we were just basically going through the basics of leveling up, how what the whole point of the XP system is, because it's not so much in terms of level 1, level 2 or anything like that. It's more granular, as in, because it's a skill-based game, you get awarded a certain amount of XP every session, and we'll have a brief chat about how much Alice has gotten in the future, I think. But You know, rather because you all got a good chunk of XP from previous sessions. We'll just leave it at that for now. So, with all that having been said, we shall now get back to the actual matter in hand. Unless there was something that you wanted to, was there a particular skill or a particular ability you were trying to aim for?
No, we'll go over that once we're finished. Now you've explained it for the nice ladies and gentle beings at home.
My pleasure. So, we find ourselves... Say again, my dear?
Ladies and gentle beings?
Yes.
Well, I'll shut up and let you continue.
Not a problem. Absolutely welcome to observe, and comments from the Peanut Gallery, always welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So, we find ourselves in the city of Chicago. It is the day after, or rather the night after the incident with the werewolves in the park. Alice, your Nosferatu associate, has left to run some errands for her sire, basically to catch up with him, see how he's doing. Celia, your new ward, is currently acclimatizing to her rooms. And Grigori, you have received a parcel. One of your ghouls, Angeline, has approached you. She says, Eugene, I apologize. Apologies, monsieur. This was outside during the early morning. She leans forward and shows you this small wooden box. I'd say it's about a couple of inches long. It's not massive. The sort of thing like almost like a cell phone case. It did not seem to be trapped or anything, but it had your name on it, and it had this symbol on. And as she turns it over, you see etched into the front of this wooden case, it is the symbol of your clan. The children have Haqim.
Ah. Yes, it is presumably from my handler, no doubt.
Do you take the box?
Yes, he takes the box.
Okay. As you pop it open and look inside, you see a small earpiece with basically there's like a curve for what would go in the back of your ear, and a small piece that sticks out here. Now, Grigori has not been around this current era for that long, but I think you're smart enough to understand that this would be a device for the ear. You remember the 80s, and you remember people with their Walkmans and all that kind of thing.
They really have advanced quite a lot in the last 40 years, haven't they?
So, what do you do with this device?
Grigori will place it in his right ear.
Okay. You place it in your ear. Nothing happens. After a moment, Eugene's they sort of lean over and says, I think you need to turn it on, messieurs. And you hear a little click, there's a switch on the side. And you hear this... I'm so sorry?
Mr. Eugene. Oh, Grigori was just saying thank you.
Okay. You hear the electronic boop boop in your ear of the device activating. And then... nothing for a moment. Then you hear static. These weird sort of pinging sounds. For context, it's I would say actually, yeah, it reminds you of Actually, no, this would be before Grigori's last time. This is basically almost like dial-up internet. There's some very weird sort of like static and, you know, weird phone distortion for a moment. Until you hear what sounds like a phone ringing on the other end. And then there's an answer. Finally, you picked it up. I was beginning to wonder. I won't have you roll for this. You know this voice very well. This is a voice I would say you've not heard in 90 years, maybe more. It's a female voice, thick Middle Eastern accent. It is a voice that you, from a person that you first met back in Alamet, the Eagle's Nest, the center of the Banu Haqim. This is the voice of not so much a patron, but someone you know fairly well. Fatima Al-Fayed.
In a while, sister.
Hello, little brother. I need you to do me a favor.
How can I help?
She proceeds to list off a string of numbers and then a street sign. I'll be there in about 15 minutes. Don't be late. You hear a slight burst of static and you're pretty sure that the earpiece is starting to smoke.
Grigori will very quickly remove it.
Eugene's like, oh shit, apologies monsieur, I'm not too sure what happened there.
Oh, don't worry, it is just Fatima being her usual fastidious self. No loose ends.
So, I am assuming you are going to make your way to the rendezvous.
Yes, he will.
Alright then. So, it doesn't take you long. About 12 minutes in the car. It is a little bit of a ways away. It is... You live more in the north end of Chicago. And this is, I would say, a little bit further north, like not so much in the middle of the Rust Belt and everything, but it is getting up there, more the darker, more industrial section of the city. There are various, I would say this is also probably like the very edge of the L train, the elevated train line that runs through most of Chicago. It is underneath one of the train tracks that you are finding yourself waiting. Give me, let me see, first roll of the game. I would say give me a, for you, give me a basic awareness and wits, if you'd be so kind.
Okay, difficulty?
No difficulty, we'll just see how many you get. Two successes. That's not terrible. Out of 3 dice, 2 of them were a success. It's fairly decent. You don't... She doesn't appear magically as if, you know, out of nothing. You do see a slight movement out of the corner of your eye as a form silently drops down just out of view. Well, eventually, about 3 cars to the left of where she dropped, you see Fatima resting idly against one of the cars. Thank you for your prompt arrival.
Well, you know me. Anything the clan needs of me, I do my best to appear as quick as I can.
It is appreciated, my brother. So, Chicago is not a place I tend to enjoy spending any real length of time in. I know this is your neck of the woods, so to speak, but I've always found this place a little uncomfortable. Too many stories of elders and ancients for my taste.
You never know, we may get lucky. Who knows who could show up?
That is what I am concerned about, so this is why I would like to keep this brief, if you do not mind.
Of course.
She reaches into a small pouch and she pulls out a small square case, I'd say about 5 or 6 inches square, about 4 inches deep. It seems to be black rounded and of a padded material. This fell into my possession recently, and unfortunately I have become somewhat burdened with it. It is not something that I can really handle at the moment. It is hot potato, I believe. It is something that has been causing issue with my work, a distraction, an extra thing for me to worry about. And so, without any sense of preamble or attempting to lie to you, I want you to know that if you accept this package, you accept the problems, the irritations, and all that are contained within. But you also accept a great responsibility for the family.
For the family.
You're not even going to ask what it is?
I will admit I am curious. But family is family.
That it is. She hands over the small parcel to you.
Grigori will make sure to keep it. He's basically got like a poacher's pocket in his coat, so he kind of puts it in there.
Okay. Do not let anybody get hold of that. Nobody outside of the family, especially. Even those who share our blood. It would be better if this were a secret between the two of us.
It is not to do with the eldest, is it?
It is. I would not lie to you. What you have in there is something that is important to us. You are not one of the sorcerers. I am not one of the sorcerers. It is not really my main skill set, but I am old enough to have picked up a few things with the years. We of Haqim are whatever the others would think, the other bloodlines. We are the oldest, we are the judges, we are the ones who we created blood sorcery far beyond it Tremere even existed. What you have there is everything that we were able to salvage from home before it awoke. What you have there is every single ritual, every single arcane secret that we were able to salvage. That is the future of the sorcerers, of the children of Haqim. those of us who are not misguided in their loyalties, shall we say.
Yes, well, I respect the eldest. I do not believe Hakim would approve of his current
Respect
agenda.
is an interesting point of view. I will say I do like that about you. The thing, the creature that has taken over our home and has decided that anyone who doesn't think Hakim themselves is a god is food, not really something I could bother respecting.
I was wondering, did
He
I
is
blind an entire match?
He is the eldest. We respect the elders.
I was very, very concerned there.
I won't argue the point. I guess I say I respect your point of view, but have you ever met? Well, I mean, you wouldn't know, so that is foolish. But
No,
you've
well,
heard the stories.
Yes, he was quite a powerful warrior in his time. Well, still is. But yes, I see why Alashad did what he did.
Shulgi is, in my mind, possibly the progenitor of all blood sorcery. They might be one of the greatest threats and horrors this entire world has ever known, save Cain themselves, if Cain has ever really existed. What we have is but a scrap, a sliver of the knowledge that the creature has given us throughout the millennia. Now that they are awake and they have taken over our home and the rest of our people, things have become a little complicated. We all still, of course, follow Hakim. Hakim is our guide in all things.
Yeah,
But Hakim is not a god. We each have our own different faiths in regards to that. You, I believe, you have your Christian god. I, of course, have Allah. And, of course, there are those who believe them to be the same thing. That is, I guess.
Personally, that is my belief, but yes.
That is, I think, the main thing that we are fighting for at the moment. The right to choose what we believe in.
You're not Christian, yes.
Shulgi is not into anything to do with choice. You either obey or you are food. I have no intention of being food.
Listen, I nearly made it to the point where
Neither do I.
So, those discs must never be touched by another. There is a complication, a little extra, that has been, shall we say, baked into their creation that would make interference with them entertaining.
You've not changed over the centuries.
Oh, this was nothing to do with me. It was one of our sorcerers, another of the schismatics, a woman in the Sarah something or other. This was back in the end of the millennium, after everything that happened with the Ravno and their antediluvian. But no, that is neither here nor there. All I really need from you is to hold on to it for, I would say, a few months, maybe a year. And we will hopefully have someone of the blood able to come and pick it up. The reason it fell into my hands was by pure chance. Someone was trying to get it. Someone not of our clan. I was unable to get much information because when I neutralized the threat, they set themselves on fire. Whether or not they were dominated to do so, or they did it out of some lockstep delusion, I do not know. However, there is a threat. Something is moving against us. And if they get those discs, if they deny us the ability to learn, we the judges, the warriors, I mean, we are enough, but with the sorcerers, they are still part of the family. We need them. And I think in these coming nights we will need every child of Haqim on our side.
That is very much true.
Protect those discs with your life, Grigori.
I will see to it.
So, another thing I love about you is you ask nothing in return. And for that I am grateful. The other... Yes.
Family saved me. They gave me something that, frankly, I needed. I can never repay that debt.
I remember. But I do not expect something for nothing. That is the way it is done with the others, you know, boons, trading a favor for a favor. So when in Chicago, I will do as the Chicago people do. In return for this favor, I give you information. You have always spoken of this Golconda, the search for the perfect state of self, yes?
That is something I have always had an interest in.
It is not my interest, however. I have done some research, and there is a kindred in this city who has made some progress, some interest in studying it. To be fair, I have heard a few names dotted around Chicago, but she is one who might be worth investigating, getting to know, having a rapport with. She is one of the pretenders, the Tremere. However, she is, I wouldn't say one of the good ones, implying that there is such a thing as a good Tremere, but you know, she is reasonable. She seems to walk the path of humanity in a very serious manner, so she might be worth investigating. Does the name Erictho mean anything to you?
I can't say that it does, no.
This is the point where I, the storyteller, above table, ask some clarifying questions to you, the player. Now, in previous conversations in regards to Grigori and how long he's been in Chicago,
yes,
you mentioned, I believe there's something in your notes that Benjamin Franklin gave you the house, or there was something involving Benjamin Franklin in the house?
I don't think Chicago was founded at the time Ben Franklin lived, but
that's fair.
prior to living in Chicago, Grigori spent a decent bit of time on the East Coast.
I see, that's fair enough. Okay. I would say, well, how long then has Grigori spent in Chicago, you reckon?
I believe he came there not long after the Second World War.
Around about the Second World War. Okay, so around the 1940s, something along those lines. That is fair enough. I would say, given the fact that even though he wasn't part of the Camarilla, you would have presented yourself to Lodin, the prince of the Camarilla at the time, you would at least have a passing knowledge of some of the more important people in the court of Chicago, if at least to avoid, treading on people's toes. You do know that the Tremere tend to favor Chinatown. These days, with Vienna in shambles, supposedly the leadership of the Tremere gone, you do know that their expulsion, or their being shoved to the side of the court, has been what's allowed the Banu Haqim to step in, especially, as we've mentioned, with the blood sorcery that you guys provide, almost replacing the Tremere in a way. But you do know that they tend to hang around, I would say, the Chinatown area. The name Erictho rings a bell. It's a very unique name, but you do not believe you have met this person. All that having been said, Fatima continues, well, I happen to know that she is going to be in a bar in a certain location, I would say in the next hour or so. If you wish to ingratiate yourself with her and have a conversation, now would be an excellent time to do it. You probably want to put those somewhere safe, though.
Oh, don't worry, I have means of keeping things hidden.
As do I, little brother. As she takes a step back into the shadows and disappears. Is there anything Grigori wishes to do before leaving the area?
I'd probably say take a quick glance around, not an actual full-on search, but just see if someone could have been nearby.
Okay, that is going to be, let's see, you don't have any points in streetwise. I would say we could go with a roll of survival, and I would say survival and wits.
Difficulty?
No difficulty. Let's just see how many you get. 3 successes. Oh, you are fairly confident that nothing has transpired here. This is a fairly abandoned street, and without using any particular disciplines that would sense invisibility, yeah. For all you know, you were completely alone. That having been said, you could have also been surrounded by an army of invisible Nosferatu. This is just the way of things.
Yeah, Grigori is going to make his way home, but he's going to go take a bit of a roundabout route.
Okay. The scenic route. Very well.
Meanwhile, Alice is pressed against the wall. I gotta get see me.
No word of a lie, I actually had planned that for a possibility. If we were doing this was before we were doing the solo sessions. When this was a group thing, if Alice had followed him, I had a whole thing planned with Alice and Fatima. That would have been interesting. But one day, we will see.
Just this floating rat going by.
So, apologies there. We'll get over to the mansion.
Also, hi everyone.
Hi everybody.
Heidi.
So, Heidi, hi. We find ourselves back in the mansion. Your ghouls, Eugene and Francois, they are going to... Let's see. Oh, Edwin and Eugene. My apologies. They are going to, pull the car into the driveway for you and everything. They do notice that you are feeling a little bit hungry. Is there anything that you want before you go, sir? You do seem a little bit on edge.
I could do with a little snack, I will admit.
Can I be of assistance?
Thank you. I shall only take a little, just to take the edge off.
Okay. How much hunger do you? How much blood do you draw from your ghouls? Do you take like a one each, or just the one?
I'd say a point from each.
Okay. They both present their wrists to you. Again, consensually. There's. It's not as if they could maybe say no. They are your ghouls after all. However, they don't seem to protest in any way. But you can remove 2 points of hunger. Also, as we forgot to mention earlier, you are able to remove any superficial damage that you had from the previous night. Okay. There is one thing we forgot to add though. It is a new night, so I need you to make a rouse check to see if you get hungrier. You do not. So, where do you keep your... Say again?
Underneath, I would say that underneath his coffin, within the basically like a stone tablet, there is a concealed safe.
Alright then. So, you sequester the discs in your personal safe. Anything else you wish to do before you head out? I am assuming you intend to meet up with this Erictho.
Yep, he is.
Is there any preparation you wish to do? Anything you wish to bring? Any sort of additional things that I, the storyteller, would need to know about?
I would say the only thing he's bringing is his cane, which is kind of his, which he always carries. Is a sword stick.
Aid. Yes.
Yeah. Is a sword stick, but he's
Not a problem. Okay. So, in that case, we find ourselves back on the streets of Chicago. And I will... If you would bear with me but one moment as I double check some information. So, we find ourselves back on the streets of Chicago. The location here is a little bit south of where you live. It's not so much the city proper. This is technically outside of the control of the Caramilla itself. Location is... I had the name highlighted. Yeah. You find yourself waiting outside a pub, a British-style pub, no less, in an area known as Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park is a fairly large chunk of the northern end of Chicago, mainly known for its large zoo, which is towards the coast. This was also the location where we first had Alice and Milton start the story. Not too far away from the scene where poor little Alice had a nasty little tumble from some mean girls. and also not too far away from the site of the famous St. Valentine's Day massacre. But, however, this particular bar seems to be fairly busy in spite of the late evening. Not 24 hours, obviously. They close around about, say, 1, 2 in the morning, something like that. But it seems to have a fairly decent clientele. Now, the information you have been given, to reiterate, is that this individual, this Tremere, is going to be here at a certain time. The one extra piece of information that I did not give was a description of the woman. You were told to look for a woman in her mid to late 20s, long brown hair, striking emerald eyes. With that information, you head inside, and we find ourselves in the pub. There we go. So, it's a fairly decent place. Large number of people hanging around. You have to bear with me a moment. I appear to have lost one of the characters as well. Of course, Grigori doesn't actually drink alcohol these days. There's only one thing that Grigori can drink. However, is there anything in particular that Grigori is doing as he's wandering around this location?
I would say he's basically acting casual, just basically someone who seems to just be scoping the place out for potentially coming in at another time.
Okay. For that, I'm going to have you make a roll for me while I try to add the artwork to this token, because thank you so much, Foundry. I would say I'm going to have you, let's just call it, you're not very good with streetwise things. I would say give me survival and charisma, difficulty of 2.
Charisma, difficulty of 2, and roll.
And how are we doing there?
That is 4 successes.
4 successes. Yeah, that is twice what you were looking for. Yeah, you absolutely fit in. If anything, 1 or 2 of the locals. There's a few different people here, but some people obviously, like in one person in like a baseball jersey. Not quite in with the theme enough, I think. Kind of gives you a, hey, all right, mate, yeah, hey, we're British, yeah. And you just see all his friends just sort of giving him like the dirtiest look. It's like, oh god, no, please stop. It is fairly busy at the moment, but you do eventually see the bartender make the way over to you. All right, son, what can I do for you? He does seem to be a British gentleman, in their late 50s, maybe. Large, burly, a wall of a man. Almost, I would say actually a little bit like Vander from Arcane, for those of you who've watched that show on Netflix. What can I do for your son?
We're just going to kind of lean on the bar and goes, I'm looking for someone. The name of... He's going to give a description.
Okay.
Basically.
So you want this bartender to give you a description. I would say, given your previous successes, I'm going to say give me persuasion and manipulation.
Persuasion and manipulation.
I'm going to give you 2 extra dice to work with. And the difficulty for this one is going to be, I would say, difficulty of 2. You're not being creepy or anything, but it is kind of... Okay, 4 successes. Very good, yeah. I think you're talking about Tracy there, yeah. She's been in every few nights for a little while now. What is it that you want with her exactly, son?
Oh, we have a little business to discuss. She said to meet.
Alright, you just sit in the corner over there, and as soon as she shows up, I'll let you know, alright?
Thank you very much, my friend.
Not a problem. What can I get you?
I wait until she arrives. I'm not really familiar with English drinks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's all good, you know, no harm, no foul, son. Just gives you a look, not a threatening look, just a bit of a smirk, and just heads back over to, polish some glasses and the like. Eventually, I would say about half an hour later, you see this woman come in who, in part, she matches the description. However, there is something a little bit unusual about her, and it takes you a minute to figure out if she's a vampire, if she is kindred, and she's doing a really, really good job of hiding it. She has a certain flush to the cheeks, her eyes are moving around, there is an easy smile and a wave at some of the people at the bar. This doesn't feel like you, a walking corpse pretending to be alive. This feels like an actual person. However, after a moment, the bartender heads over to her, taps her on the shoulder, and then points over to your direction. She glances over, and you do see those eyes harden ever so slightly for just a moment before the easy smile returns, and she just nods to the barkeep, and she makes her way over. Hello there. Is this seat taken?
Oh, of course, I'm Hotel, please.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So, you have been asking for me. May I ask, whom do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
Grigori Serecuse, at your service.
Tracy Graves is the name we'll be going with for now. Tell me, Grigori Serecuse, as she leans forward and she is staring intently at you. Her eyes are drinking in every detail. Grigori, are you using the blush of life? Are you attempting to bring color to your cheeks? Are you basically trying to pass for a living, breathing person in this moment?
I would say yes.
Okay, first of all, give me a rouse check, please.
Okay.
You do not get hungrier. Your eyes, they blink. You will your lungs to move. The blood does move to, your cheeks, your skin starts to warm up. It's a bit of a process, but you've been able to get that going for the better part of an hour now. She is going to... I would like you to give me another roll. For this one, just give me a basic... I would say give me a subterfuge and deception. And I am going to roll something Let's see.
Yeah, I can't find deception.
Deception is on. Yeah.
Because I've clicked.
I'm so sorry. Yes, subterfuge.
Yeah,
Yes, subterfuge and manipulation. I would say we're going to roll that, and we will see who gets the higher dice.
I was just about to say straight roll.
It's a straight roll. Ooh, 4 successes for you. She has 5 successes. Well, Mr. Serecuse, you do have me, it would appear, a slight disadvantage. May I ask who you are with? Which family? What is your purpose for being here around all these mortals?
Oh, I have lived in Chicago a while, but I have been to Tyree. It's a horrible night to have a curse, wouldn't you think?
Ah, I see. Children of Hakim, interesting. And what do the judges want with me?
It is not so much what they want, but more something I am interested in.
Please do tell me, and do be honest, I will know if you're lying to me. All this time, she's got this very warm, relaxed smile. She does have an air of someone who is supremely confident in the way she carries herself.
Put simply, I have heard that you seek Golconda.
There is a slight twitch, a slight flicker in the eyes before she regains herself. Interesting. And what is your interest in the mythical state of being?
Put simply, I wish to attain it.
She leans in again very close, looks you up and down. Feel like she's all but reading your soul. Oh. Well, that's very interesting. May I ask where you found this information, or what makes you think that I am interested in such things?
It would be rather gauche of me to reveal my sources.
It would, but I would appreciate you being a little gauche, because I'm not exactly public with my personal interests, and you do happen to have walked into the middle of a private matter and have laid down a rather, what is it they say, a bit of a bombshell at my feet, so I would like a little something, if you don't mind. If you're trying to protect a friend or a personal confidence, I respect that, but I would like at least some indication of how you know.
A sister of mine.
That tracks, I suppose. You have a reputation, and those of your family do have a reputation of being very good at finding things out. Well, fair. I'll accept that. Yes, Mr. Serecuse, I am very interested in Golconda, in being more than this affliction. Tell me, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? I am going to be asking you some personal questions, if that is all right.
See, let's check. I would probably say round about, let's see, you'll have to forgive me, this has been a very long time since I had to actually think about my age.
No, but we're not an actual figure, rather. When will you turn, if that helps?
Around about 1180.
Ah, Well, sir, you certainly have the advantage of me. I was simply returned in 1897. I've been in Chicago most of my life. Afraid I haven't bumped into you yet, but I'm surprised at that, since...
Well, I tend to, I arrived here back in 47 and, slept until 80. I slept until about 1981 and then went back to sleep about 89 and I just woke up.
I see. I've never been one for a long sleep. I prefer to keep active, but fair enough.
The last time I was awoken before I was ready, I had to drain a few Nazis.
Really? You see her smile a little more warmly. Oh, well, that is always good to know. But enough of that. Here is the thing. I have spent a long time looking into our condition, the way we are, the curse, and I'm sure you and I are having very different opinions on what is a curse and what isn't, but in my opinion, this existence, it is a curse that was levied upon us by those that murdered us. I have worked very long and very hard to find any way back to what we were. She gestures to the bar, to what they have. For some, Golconda is a complete myth. It's a fairy tale, an impossibility. However, I've been around long enough to know that there are some who claim to have achieved it. Many of them are charlatans, or they're trying to find their own way to manipulate people like us, the desperate, or folks of that nature, but there are some that I believe have actually succeeded in this state. Have you ever heard of the name Beckett? He's a gangrel. He's a scholar, a nodist, very interested in the legends of Cain and all that. Well, I heard tell that he once discovered the heart of the Golconda cult, and it was all simply some sort of trick to hunt down both Salubri and Tremere. Since then, there have been a few different Golconda cults that have come up. One of them I have been a little bit interested in. I might, and the emphasis, Mr. Serecuse, is might be interested in assisting you with your own personal search if you help me with mine. But before I trust you with this, I would have a favor to call on you for.
But of course.
In return for this favor, I will share what I know about the local Golconda cults, and perhaps together we can explore whether or not these are a viable option, which would be nice, but I am at this point a little bit more skeptical. There's always a free cheese and mousetrap, that kind of thing. And having you around, a warrior of the Banu Haqim, and I assume you are a warrior, you're not one of the blood sorcerers?
I am a warrior.
No offense, I don't mean to show disappointment, it's simply, as a sorcerer myself, I would love to pick the brain of your people, see what sort of skills what things I could learn from a more well-versed practitioner. But that is not... That is one thing that you could maybe offer if you could arrange an introduction. But I would actually prefer a more immediate favor, if you would be so kind.
Of course.
The barman
Yes.
over there, his name is Ralph. He's a charming fellow. I need you to distract him while I go into his basement and rip his floor.
It's quite an interesting ask.
It's an interesting favor I'm providing as well. I will give you full context for why I'm here and what I'm doing, if things go my way.
I think I may have a couple of ideas which could help. How long would you need?
I shouldn't need too long, about 15 minutes maximum.
Very well. Grigori's going to take a quick look at the bar and see what the wines are there.
Sure. It's like any other kind of, pub tavern kind of deal. Lots of whiskies, lots of liqueurs. You see things like, the various, hard liquor. Not much in the way of basic beer and everything. That's more towards the front. But, like on the back wall, like the show bottles, if that makes sense. Or like the Di Serrano, the Amaretto, and all that kind of thing. That's more, that's lit in a fairly expensive manner, if that makes sense. Is there anything in particular Grigori is looking for?
He's just seeing exactly how much wine there is there, how many different bottles.
It is... They do have 1 or 2 bottles of wine, a few red, a few white, but given the nature of this place, it's there's far more cider than there is wine. This is a quote-unquote English pub, or rather a British pub. But they do have 1 or 2 bottles. So, what is it? What is your plan? What are you planning to do?
Grigori is planning to... Well, he does have a knowledge of wine, for obvious reasons, but his plan was to try to get into a conversation about the best wines.
Okay, so it's a... I would say this is going to be a little bit of a social combat. Almost.
Okay.
First of all, I'm going to ask you to attempt to get the attention of the barkeep. Bear with me a moment. Single monitor as Tracy Graves is going to subtly step away from the bar, and she's going to make her way towards the side door, her eyes on you. So, what I would like you to do is I would like a roll. Let's make this... Let's call it persuasion and manipulation. The difficulty for this one is going to be a 3.
Okay, go.
Ooh. Unfortunately, that is going to be a failure. If you want, you could always burn a point of superficial willpower, and you could reroll up to 3 dice. You do have 3 missing dice, so there is that option.
I think I'll burn one willpower.
Oh,
And
okay.
reroll.
Yeah. So that's going to be basically just roll 3 d10s.
Okay.
Anything from 1 to 5 is a fail. 6 to 0 is a success. So,
Right.
let's see. That is no successes. So, you wander over to the barkeep, and you, I would say, you try to explain a little bit about. So, how do you go about gaining his attention? First of all,
He'd be very polite.
Okay.
Excuse me, Ralph? Yes, Ralph?
Yeah, mate. What can I do for you?
I was actually wondering about your wine selection.
Wine? Look, no offense, son. It's not really that kind of bar, you know. We do. This is a taste of the UK, you know. We've got like beer, we got ale. Yeah, we got a bunch of like, you know, the priciest stuff as well. You know, we've got like cider if you want to be fancy, but I mean, we don't do sparkling champagne or anything. We've got Sambuca if you want a bit of a Sambuca. You want a Jägermeister, anything like that.
Oh, it's more of a. I'm something of a wine expert. I was just wondering what your selection was.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, you're French, aren't you? I not much. He actually shows you some of the bottles. At the moment, he is still close to where Tracy is. She is, I would say, she's actually over here, just waiting for him to get a bit further in depth. He doesn't look super engaged, more confused than anything. I would like, let's see, what is your next attempt? What are you trying to do next, since the wine thing doesn't really seem to be working?
I was gonna butt down and say I could have swore the bartender was gonna go, well, we've got white and we've got red.
Honestly, he pretty much that.
I would
Pretty
say
much.
Grigori would probably go into a few English wines he knows.
Okay.
Just to at least try and keep the interest for a little while longer.
All right then. I would say this. Give me, let's call it, insight and wits. I'm going to reduce the difficulty to 2 for this one. Insight and wits. 2 successes. Okay. I would say this counts as a success for you. This guy knows jack all about wine. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that. No. Oh, you don't say. Oh. He's glancing over at the rest of the bar and everything, and of course where Tracy is as well on occasion. However, he does seem to be looking at you not so much with an interest, more sort of a, is this going somewhere kind of expression. Round 3 to this. What, given the fact that this guy doesn't know much about what you're talking about and isn't exactly invested in wine, is there anything else that, any other topic, any other stratagem that Grigori wants to try and do to keep eyes away from the side of the bar where Tracy is still inching?
And let's see.
You can get as creative as you want, and I will try and translate that into a dice roll for you.
Okay. He's going to try to move on to. He's trying to think of. He's basically racking his brains trying to remember what the few English people he's spent a long. The last English person he spent a lot of time with was in London in the 40s, so he's kind of racking his brain.
Yes. Okay, that's fair enough. For that one, I think it's going to be. Yes, you don't have many dots in some of your skills. Let's call this. I would say give me an investigation and charisma, but I'm gonna give you 2 bonus dice. Difficulty 3.
Come on. Oh, yes.
5 successes, yeah. Okay, yeah. you remember that the British are ridiculously into their football, their various sports, and you do see there are one or two framed shirts of a particular football team which you have absolutely no context for. However, you point them out, and instantly the confusion is away, and bam, this guy is talking and talking and talking. There are things like offside rule, and you know, basically that just his face just lights up, and as he's trying to explain the history of his favorite team and all this other stuff, it is for the most part kind of gibberish to you. But as all that is going on, just out of the side of your eye, you notice that Tracy slips away into the shadows. Now, what we just did above table, that's an example of the 3 and out rule. 3 different challenges, and it is based on a number of successes or failures. Technically, Grigori got 2 successes there out of 3, so not a complete win, but by and large, you achieved what you needed to do in the moment. Now, I would like one final test, an extra one. This one is to see how long you're able to keep him to allow Tracy to do what she needs to do. Is there anything about, say, a French sport, French history, or is there any sort of topic of conversation that Grigori thinks would be appropriate to add on to this discussion of sports, or rather this very, very one-sided lecture about sport that he is now receiving?
I would say, given his lifespan, he's somewhat familiar with football, more the early years, but I would say he'd go a little bit into the history he does know.
Okay, very good. For that one, I would say let's make this persuasion and charisma with 1 extra die, difficulty of 3.
Okay, 1 extra dice and a difficulty of
3. Under 3. You meet it, you beat it. 3 successes, yeah. Okay. He is impressed. He is genuinely impressed. At first, you could see him sort of catching himself and realizing, oh, I'm doing it again. I'm sorry. Anyway, I should get back to work. And then you start listing off a few names from, various footballers from the early 1900s, and a genuine bit of history that his eyes just like light up, and he is just absolute rapt listening to the history of this game that he loves so much. And I would say you have him for a good 14-15 minutes until eventually you hear a little oh, I'm so sorry, were you two discussing something? Oh, yeah, no, sorry, I should really get back to work. Mate, dude, much respect to you. That was, I never knew that. I never knew they used to do that. That was some. Are you like a historian or something? Because that is some knowledge right there.
I do have a passing familiarity with history.
Oh, passing familiarity. No. You respect to your son. No. You're always welcome in here.
Pleasure to hear that, Ralph.
Yeah. Anyway, I've got a bunch of other customers I need to get on with. So, you have yourself a good one, all right, son? You take care.
You too. Bonne nuit.
And he heads back over to serve the drinks. Tracy, or Erictho, as Fatima referred to as, gives you a very thin smile. Well, you certainly did your part. Unfortunately, I wasn't really able to achieve what I was after. Shall we step outside for a moment? Some fresh air and a slightly easier conversation, I reckon.
Yes, it would probably be more agreeable.
Appreciate you. And so the two of you step outside into the Chicago streets. So Tracy looks a little bit irritated. Allow me to explain. The idea was I was looking for a particular individual named Clarence. Clarence was last seen in this bar about a month ago now, and I've been trying to track him down. Unfortunately, whenever I try to do what I do, there is something preventing me from finding him. I had hoped that with a little extra time I could do a slightly different ritual. Unfortunately, it did not work. Clarence is well, here's the thing, Mr. Serecuse. You technically did do what I asked, so if you want, I can simply give you a name, a little bit of information, and we can part ways. However, if you are willing to assist me in a more direct manner with our mutual interest, would I be overstepping the bounds if I were to ask you a deeper favor?
Of course not.
Well, merci, monsieur. Well, a few months ago, Clarence came to us from Indianapolis. He'd spent some time working at the Chantry there. He's a Tremere, as myself. Recently, Indianapolis has become the center for the Anarchs in the region. Specifically, the Ministry, or Children of Set. Why on earth the Anarchs have got into bed with a Egyptian snake cult, I have absolutely no idea, but the Anarchs do as they do. Clarence felt it safer to leave Indianapolis, and he headed up here. He was actually in Milwaukee for a little while. He was doing some work for us. When he found out some of the artifacts that had been... Bear with me a second. You say you have been here a while.
We intermittently, I would say.
I see. Were you aware that in, I would say, 2005, something like that, our chantry in Milwaukee was ransacked? One of our number, a woman by the name of Kana, she absconded with a large number of materials, formed her own house, is sided with the Anarchs, but she, in her wake, left behind several valued items that Clan Tremere had been keeping safe, and some of those artifacts were stolen, not by her, but by other parties. We've spent several years trying to track down these various relics, artifacts, fetishes to some. Bartleby, Clarence Bartleby, he believed that he had located one of them, It's supposed to be a severed, mummified tongue. A little bit ghoulish, I know, but these arcane artifacts are rarely delightful to look upon. He said that this tongue was being used as part of a mortal cult. A bunch of normal people had somehow acquired it, and they were conducting various rites about the city. The last time he got in touch, he went to that bar, and they were currently performing a rite in the basement. The barkeep is not a cultist or anything like that. He was simply what is the expression? He was simply renting the space out for them. I believe a fight club sort of situation. First rule is we don't talk about it, sort of thing.
That would make sense.
Yes, well, Clarence did not get in touch for a week or two. I was worried that something had happened to him. When he did correspond, he sent a very disturbing note, and I have it on me. Don't worry, I'm not going to read the full thing. I just wish to paraphrase, if you would bear with me a moment. She reaches into her handbag and she pulls out a bunch of papers. She flips through them. Yes, I have seen. Up above in the pub, the patrons conducted an open mic with purple prose. The basement was mundane, no candles. There were no robes. None of the usual cultist chitch and claptrap. These unassuming people let me into their circle and initiated me into their communal ritual. They called for the devoted one, and one among their number stepped forth holding a knife, and with frightful good humour and perfect suavity cut out their own tongue. Not a scream. He smiled red with a religious ecstasy. They opened a small ornamented box, and there was the tongue, desiccated yet pliable. They asked that I anoint the organ with vitae. I did so, and it moved. It crawled into the devoted one's bloody mouth, fusing and became his tongue. No, he became its body, and then it spoke. It spoke in tongues. Such adulations. Space ran like melted wax. I saw things, Erictho. Such things. Miracles happened in that basement. Miracles I cannot illuminate with words. I wept until my eyes clotted over. Regards, Bartleby. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a little bit concerning. I've tried to find him. I have cast all manner of rituals, of spells. I have sent words that would reach anyone across the planet, and he has continued to send me just vague notes of the fact that he has found religion.
You're certain that he's... Would he still be within the Chicago area?
I don't have... I suppose I can't guarantee that. That is a fair point. The messages he sends me are pretty much the way I would send a message to another, through various sorcerous means. He could be in another state, in another country altogether. Certainly seems like he's on a different planet at this point, but...
There's something...
Please.
Grigori is kind of thinking, and is just thinking, this cults these days tend to recruit from certain sources, don't they? Message boards, I believe they're called.
Yes, I suppose. I am not technically minded, I'm afraid, and you being a little bit older than me, we both understand that technology moves so fast, it's not really something one can keep up with, and also their studies.
Well, I may be able to consult with someone on such matters.
Please do. If any information in regards to this cult and to Clarence's whereabouts would be deeply appreciated. I am concerned about the nature of this artifact. I do not think this is something... Well, I wouldn't trust anything that comes out of that kind of mouth.
That I can agree with.
I would rather the artifact not be destroyed if you were to come across it. However, if that were the case, then that would be tragic and all, but I would much rather have Clarence return to me whole. I am just concerned for the boy. I think he's very much out of his depth and is under some sort of influence. This is not the writing of the man I knew.
Out of interest, this artifact, what did the Tremere name it?
Honestly, it's, as far as we know, it's just a crawling tongue. We don't really know much about it. Unfortunately, up until recently, any information that one Chantry would have would be... It wouldn't be disseminated amongst all the others around them. It would go straight up. And unless you have been a little bit isolated, you may have been aware that in recent years, there is no more up. Vienna was destroyed.
Oui, that was mentioned to me at the soiree last night, the other night.
Such a tragedy. She has this very warm smile on her face.
I get the feeling out of the two of us, you are more pleased with this than I am, and, well, you know our history.
I'm very glad to know that my sire is no longer among us. He was the one who murdered me after all and turned me into this. Kept me under his thumb for hundreds of years as his pet, his assistant.
That is fair.
I felt the bond snap. Then I heard about Vienna through the grapevine, and the downside, of course, is our clan is no longer as important in these nights. We don't carry the same weight. But that is not really my primary concern. I'm more interested in dealing with personal matters and learning on my own pace, and no longer having someone over my shoulder telling me what to think and to do.
I can appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Serecuse. You've been a most interesting associate for this evening. If you find Clarence, you can reach me in Chinatown. I would advise you, if you do intend to ever make it down that way, present yourself and announce yourself to me first. There are things in Chinatown that most kindred cannot comprehend. As I said to the prince himself, it is not for vampires.
I shall bear that in mind.
Is there anything I can do for you, Mrs. Serecuse?
No. As you said, it was about a month ago.
Yes. If you find anything, please do let me know. But for now, I have other matters to attend to. I unfortunately am not the leader of the local chantry. That would be Mr. Disable, and yeah, I have plenty of his messes to clean up this evening without continuing to focus on my own. So I will be busy with that for the rest of the evening. But before I do go, I will say there should be a event in the near future. Somebody has been speaking in regards to Golconda. There is a researcher, a scholar among our kind. I'm not too sure what bloodline he is from, but he seems to be older than us, who has put a lot of work and research into this, and he has said things in the past which they seem to have rung true. So that is someone who I might be introducing you to in the near future, if our schedules and the stars align.
It is much appreciated, Mademoiselle Tracy.
Yes, Tracy will do. But Ness, you be good to yourself, my friend, and happy hunting this evening.
You too.
One final question.
Oui?
The children of Haqim, your entire reputation back when I was a young kindred was into Diablo, devouring the soul of fellow vampires. Now, is this true?
It was the Bali who were responsible for that. But, well, you are Tremere, you know of the blood curse from Tyree.
Yes, that is a fair point. It was the Tremere who placed a curse on you, preventing you from doing the thing that you were very well known for. Yes.
Well, I personally have never diablerized someone, but I will admit I have supped of other kindred. Never undeserving, you understand, but let's just say I prefer to partake of what is given freely.
That is good to know, and that was what I was aiming at. You see, Golconda, from what I have come to understand, it is about humanity itself. It is about being like them, about denying the beast, being better than an animal, devouring the soul of another entity, even one of us. I do not believe that is the path to Golconda, Mr. Serecuse.
Believe me, the only time I have forcibly eaten, they were, well, I already mentioned the Nazis. They
Yes.
were trying to kill me first, so...
Still, please continue.
In my mind, we are the top of the food chain, but it is an ecosystem. humans are capable of killing us just as much as we are killing them, so we cannot just prey like animals. We must be restrained.
Hmm.
And we must protect them from those of us who would be as beasts.
We can agree to that, at least. I would encourage caution, Mr. Serecuse, that you may not find exactly what you are looking for in Golconda if you believe in exerting your authority on others. But that's simply my interpretation. I could absolutely be wrong, and you could be in the right. But I do appreciate the fact that you only tend to do this when it is considered necessary. You don't take pleasure in it, I assume.
I would not deny that I enjoy the taste, but no, I do not take overall pleasure in it.
Good. Keep that in mind, Mr. Serecuse. Until our next meeting.
Shadows protect you.
Very good night. And she heads off into the evening.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
No, go on. I'll wait until you've said what you're going to say.
No. So, I will say, I had one or two little things that was out. This one was more of like an impromptu one. Some of the stuff that I was working on behind the scenes didn't go as long as I expected. So, by and large, that is the majority of what I had prepared done.
Well, here's a mad idea.
Oh, good. I'm down for madness.
Grigori is going to head for Nosferatu City.
So, okay. So, this is something in particular about. Now, when you say the city, you're talking about the Warrens underneath Chicago. Now, you have lived in the city long enough to at least know the certain various bits of turf that have been carved up for certain factions, certain individuals. The Chicago Pedway, which is the large interconnecting series of buildings and tunnels that make up the core of Chicago, that has been declared as the hunting grounds of the Nosferatu. Now, the question is, does Grigori know how to get into the sewers and the actual havens of the Nosferatu? I would assume not.
Probably not, no.
So, what is Grigori's plan exactly? Is he looking to make contact with a certain Alice?
Yes, he's going to try and get in contact with Alice.
Okay. This is my question then. Bear with me a second. Beep, beep, beep. So, Nicola, does Alice actually have any kind of... you have a cell phone that you've given... You've got basic contact details and everything shared. Is that correct?
Yeah, I shared it to his twins.
Okay.
Did the twins relay the message she sent to them?
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
Like we've been fucking lied to.
Yes, and if you would like to remind the audience specifically who lied to you and in what capacity.
It was one of the what's the name? The Bruja, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bruja. Basically, she
She
lied and told us that it was a sanctioned werewolf hunt, but those don't exist.
Yeah.
She was trying to provoke a race war.
Or at the very least trying to, kill a werewolf at the very least and just get help to do it. Oh yeah, I believe you're speaking of the Gangle Primogen Rosa Hernandez. The
Yes.
Bruja was Anita Wainwright, who then gave Alice a job. And I would say that scene has just finished now. So, if you two wished to continue for a little bit, I'm down with that. At the very least, a conversation can be had between Grigori and Alice.
They're all getting into so much trouble without my guidance.
I think Grigori's made his way to the headway at this point.
Okay. You're making me do work now, son. Let's see.
Oh, the stress of a DM.
Yeah! Oh, no, they don't exist. Bye, Bowen. I would say it doesn't take too long, but Alice is going to eventually meet you. Yeah. So basically, between a bank and a hotel swimming pool, where you see people just lounging around behind the glass wall. There's a small corridor off to the side with, a gate. And that's where you see I would assume if Alice is waiting, she currently has the Mask of 1,000 Faces. Is that correct? Does Mask of 1,000... And that would require a rouse check.
That would require me to log into the game.
It wouldn't. It would. Yeah. Okay. Would you like me to do that for you while you're doing that?
Yes, please.
Not a problem. Don't worry, Alice did not explode. She does not get hungrier. See, I'm not the only person who's caught on the left foot. Ha ha ha. But yeah, Grigori, you basically meet up with Alice. Or at least you assume it to be Alice, yeah.
It's the only... I say Grigori as he approaches. He goes, I love this city, but the problem is there's too many wild dogs running around.
Oh, Lydia, no. Alright, Grigori. She's gonna give you a little wink.
Good evening, Mademoiselle Alice.
One thing I want to clarify though,
Mm-hmm.
after all the shenanigans that went on over the last few nights, would
Yes.
Milton have left her alone again?
Here's the thing.
Or is he
Milton...
chilling in a corner nearby?
I would say this, as we were talking about, we ended the last session where it's like, well, we're fucked. Do you want to wrap this on? And there was maybe a little moment between you two, off camera. I would say it's been at least half an hour after that to where Milton is currently... The fact that Grigori did call up, you're probably right. I would say that Milton is going to be lurking in the corner. Let me try and find his token, gosh darn it.
While you're looking for Milton's token, I do have an observer question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do all of Alice's disguises feature a ferret jumping around in the back of the hoodie?
I would say at this point in time, it's still the first day that she acquired the ferret, so it is not yet currently bonded to her.
I'm just teasing.
No, I know.
Oh, Millie, this is Grigori, the gentleman I was telling you about.
From your point of view, you see this very small, bookish, very generic-looking person in sort of like a heavy, almost like a Kenny from South Park style hoodie. He sort of wanders over to you and shakes your hand, but it's sort of like gives you a bit of a very keen-eyed look. Yeah, pleasure to meet you. Alice has been saying that you've been doing a lot of interesting things.
Oui, that is somewhat. It is somewhat down to Mademoiselle Bluebird.
Yeah, about that, Alice, he glances over to you. Do you want to tell him what Rowan told you?
Oh, yes. Apparently, Bluebird's little apartment has burned to the ground. She's missing, Grigori.
That is, well, it does not surprise me, but, yes, that is concerning.
It's a little bit more than concerning. But maybe she's gone and lying low. Also, speaking of lying low, did the twins forward on the message I sent earlier?
In regards to Hernandez, they did.
Yes. Is that something we should be concerned about?
For the time being, do not say anything. If it comes up, it will come up, and, well, it is something I will have to deal with. But as far as you are concerned, you are not there. Unless I doubt very much that Hernandez will mention. Well, she is not Camarilla, is she? So, not quite.
Milton
maybe-
pipes up from the back. Point of order, I think she's the primogen for the gangrel, so yeah, she is literally the most Camarilla of the Camarilla. She is like the head of her faction.
That is true, but Gangrel, in my experience, tend to be, how shall we say, rebellious. Even for, especially for Camarilla. So.
I mean, he's not wrong, actually, to be fair.
But yes, if anything, I doubt she would say anything, and I certainly will not implicate you in any way.
I'm very glad to hear that.
Rest assured.
Really appreciate that, Grigori. See, I told you he was an absolute sweetheart. And she just kind of nudges Wilton on the belly.
Yeah, he's an absolute sweetheart. Really nice fella. He has not taken his eyes off you, Grigori.
Yes, it was not expected, but Alice more than held her own.
I'm very glad to hear that.
And as I already said to Alice, if when the time comes, I am glad to stand by your side and her side when you present her. So.
That is actually appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Serecuse. If you do that, then you will find that I owe you a major boon. Not one to be taken lightly.
Well, that kind of makes what I'm about to ask a little bit awkward, Mr. Milton.
Oh, goody! I love awkward. It's been an awkward day.
It is more that you are familiar with what do they call it? The dark web, correct?
That was never proven.
It's just that I am looking for a group who may have met at. He basically gives the location of the pub and the date that the disappearance will have taken place. He doesn't say anything else. He just says
Right.
a religious group that rented out the pub at that date. If there's any postings online or message board that could indicate where they could be.
Okay. I mean, I've found people with less. It's not much to go on. A religious group is... So, before I stick my hand into another hornet's nest, as that seems to be the thing these days, is this a family matter?
Not quite. It is more that an individual has gone missing and an artifact is involved. I have somewhat been roped into looking for this individual, so...
Alright. I do this in return. You assist in helping me present Alice as an out-of-towner And every single lie and every single bit of fake information that I have broken my back and bent myself over every table in the city to do, you are going to say is the gospel truth.
Indeed.
Pleasure doing business, mister. And he shakes your hand.
Yeah.
Alright,
Grigori shakes.
Alright, we got a deal. Betrayers, and I will destroy you.
Believe me, monsieur, I have lived a very long time. I do not betray.
Very wise. Very wise. He just gives Alice a very big toothy smile. Well, I guess I've got some Googling to do. Alice, I trust you. If you two need to go out, just... He looks over at you.
Oh, no. Don't worry. I'm really heading back home now. I've conducted this business.
Alright, well, I'm just saying, in general, in future, my child here is very important to me. And I am showing you trust in letting her make her own decisions. And I am trusting you to look out for her.
Oh, believe me, you have my word on that.
Just know, and you're an older gentleman, from what I've heard, so you would know what happens if someone sets off a Nosferatu.
I have not seen such acts, but...
You never do. And around you, both of you start hearing little giggling and chuckles, different voices.
Rest assured, Monsieur Milton, our families are not so unlike.
Yeah, that's a problem sometimes, but I see what you're saying.
But do not worry. Alice has, as I say, she has more than proven herself courageous, intelligent, quick-witted. I will obviously look out for her.
Yeah. It's made me very proud.
That I am very glad to hear.
Right. Well, you have yourself a good night in your little mansion and everything. I'm going to try and track some people down. We've got a lot of things to do when we're burning moonlight. So, until our next meeting, Mr. Serecuse.
Of course, Monsieur. Bear in mind that I've already extended to Alice. She may attend my home at any time. I extend the same invitation to you.
That is noted and appreciated. My haven is for me and Alice only. But
of course.
That's just the way of things round here. Only Nosferatu go down in the sewers if, and this is a big if, the world is on fire and you all need a place to lie low. Locations will be provided. In the meantime, never, ever, ever go into the sewers. This is for your own safety. Because we're not the only things down there, son.
Oh, believe me. I know.
Well, au revoir, monsieur. You have a good night.
You too. And I hope you
I'll catch up with you, Millie. I'm just going to walk Mr. Serecuse back up to the upper layers.
He just takes your hand, squeezes it for a moment, and very softly says, "Trust you." And he's going to head back inside.
Come on, dear. There is something I would like to ask a little favor of as well.
Of course, you'll need Millie ask.
You remember Duke?
Yes, I remember Duke. Little, well, let's just say there are very uncharitable descriptions of people like him.
You're not a fan?
He's a coward.
Apparently he is also the thorn in the side of a few rather influential people. He's stirring up trouble between the Camarilla and the I can't remember their name. Anarchs?
The
Anarchs.
Anarchs.
The Anarchs. That's it. And you know my situation. I've had to, well, Milton, poor darling, he's worked so hard. He's had to pull a few strings for me.
I see. Well, unless there is a slight problem, unless he fights back, I cannot actually kill him. I can injure him severely, remove limbs, but actual killing is not really something I can do.
Is that a creed thing or a curse thing? I'm still not quite up on these things.
It is the law of the Banu Haqim.
Okay then.
But
Remember that shiny little 45 you lent me earlier?
oh yes, well I did not lend it to you. I think that was Hernandez who lent it to you.
Okay. Did I leave that at your mansion?
I suspect you may have. I think it was put for. If it has, then you should be able to put it somewhere for safekeeping.
Must pick that back up from you. But yeah, Duke is apparently causing a lot of people a lot of trouble, and he needs to go away quietly.
Of course.
Either
I guess.
leave the city or leave the immortal coil.
I will see what I can do.
Thank you, sweetheart. You're so sweet to me. Also, thank your darling assistance for my little pet.
Of course. I shall make sure to do so.
You stay safe now, my dear.
You too. I sense that Milton does worry about you quite a lot.
Oh, he does. He is such a sweetheart. But if all goes well with his presentation, which, by the way, your assistance with that would be greatly appreciated,
Of course, as
then
I said,
there'll be nothing else to worry about.
You impressed me the other night. And I have seen a lot of battles, I have seen a lot of warriors, and you have, for your first fight, I presume?
Well, outside a little scrap in Catholic school, many years ago, yes.
I can say, outside of that, you did magnificent.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Do greatly appreciate that.
And I speak as a man who has walked across hundreds of battlefields over centuries.
Yeah, some of the tales you told. Woohoo!
The old man's stories were not too boring.
Sweetheart, you are living history. Some of the things you said were fascinating.
Well, in that case, I will have to regale you with some more at a later date. But for now, it is bonne nuit.
Very well. Well, I shall chat to you later. I'm going to help Milton do his little research, and then I need to do a little research on my own. But I'll keep in contact.
But of
One of
course.
you, that little lady, your assistant there, she's been sending me the most delightful little memes. I'm going to turn around and show my phone, just like some memes that they've been sending me.
Your name was always the comedian of the two. Edwin was much more serious.
It's possums, isn't it?
It's just possums, just pages and pages of possums.
Admittedly, I think the first one she sent to me by accident, but since then we've had she's a sweetheart. I love her.
That she is. The Franco family have served me for centuries, but I have always done my best to look after them as they have looked after me.
It does seem like a very fine arrangement.
No, they are. It is hard to explain. It is somewhat medieval of me, if you pardon the phrasing, but yes. They choose to serve me, and I will do everything I can for them.
And who says chivalry is dead? Well, You're dead, so technically. You know what? I didn't think that through, so I'm just going to abandon that metaphor.
It still works. It still works.
Perhaps. Anyway, I think I've worried Milton more than enough these past few days, so I'm going to go check in with him. You be safe now.
You too.
She's just going to like pat his arm, because I assume he took her arm as they were walking.
Yeah.
She's going to give him a little pat and a little peck on the cheek.
Okay.
Because he's French.
He will very gently kiss her hand.
Oh.
You suddenly lose your hand as Milton appears out of nowhere with a huge katana. No, not canon.
No.
Very jealous, but not canon.
Alright then, well, she will head back down into the sewers.
Okay.
And Grigori will return to his mansion.
Okay. So, before we close things up for the evening, any final things that Grigori wishes to do?
He would probably tell Edwin and Eugene of what's transpired.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them that they're expecting information from Milton, and basically just keep an eye on things.
So you mentioned the tongue and everything as well.
Yes, he makes sure to inform them.
Okay.
Because they might keep their eyes and ears out as well for any information.
Okay. I would say, as you're explaining that, you hear a strange creaking sound coming from upstairs near Cecilia's room. And as you glance up, you see, looking down at you, coming through the ceiling, you see a face. A face, or other form, shaped out of almost like a red, blood-like mist. And it looks at you and says, "A calling tongue sounds disgusting." And we'll leave that there for the future.
Alice is going to do many naughty things to Milton.
Yes. yes.
Her
So,
bond needs to relax. Ain't that right, Daddy?
so yeah, for clarification, there is currently a weird, what was the name of that Guillermo del Toro movie? My wife's a massive fan of it. The one
Pan's
with
Labyrinth?
Loki. No, the one with... It's all about the ghosts.
Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak, thank you, D. So basically, there is a red, blood-covered Crimson Peak-style ghost literally through the ceiling, looking down at Grigori, talking about the bloody tongue. And that is, the scene that we pop on there. That, and of course, Milton and Alice enjoying some stress relief. So... That was the Messquerade, as ever. Bit of a mess, bit of a... Many things at once. Thank you so much, Alice, for jumping in there. That was totally unexpected, but no, that I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No one expects the little goth girl, do they?
They never do, but they always appreciate it. In regards to Celia... and what's going on up there with all that stuff. Now, we did speak earlier, I believe it was yesterday, and you would be unavailable on Thursday. This Thursday, was that correct, D?
That is sadly correct. I will not be available until next Tuesday.
Yeah, and next Tuesday, we actually have plans for something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be doing something a little bit different next week. Going to be playing a little bit of D&D. Won't be streamed on my channel. That's going to be over on the Dice and Dolts thing. But I would say, unless things change, the next one-shot is going to be what Celia's been up to today.
Hey!
Yeah, and all the fun stuff going on there.
He's
So,
no trouble.
I would say this as well, Grigori. Not only do you, I would say, because of the way you handled yourself in this session and everything, it is going to be an extra 2 points of XP onto your character sheet.
16.
Yes, you are now at 16, and we can figure some stuff out what you can do with that after the stream. So, any questions, comments, thoughts, and theories from anyone and everyone?
Grigori has a few ideas about who that tongue could belong to, and it's not good.
I like the fact that everyone's like, by the way, Bluebird exploded. No one's like, oh, that sucks.
I know!
Well, she's missing, and we know that the anchor's in the town, so we all think she's playing it smart and laying low.
Plus, Grigori's
I'm
known
glad you have faith in her. Enough to say, yeah, you know what? I picture it more like them all being like, you know what? I believe in her. Let's not do anything.
That was literally what Alice said when Alice first found out about it. She was like, oh shit, well, I'm glad she was smart enough to lay low.
Yeah, Grigori's kind of, this is not the first time something like this has happened.
There's such a thing as being too competent.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what happens with that in the future, I think.
I'm in trouble, everyone. I can use help. I'm sure she's okay. She's a smart girl.
But don't worry, hey, at least you've got Celia, the backup character, to fall back on. Absolutely nothing horrible is happening to Celia right now.
She's fine.
Why you gotta say it like that?
Because
the shadows
it's me.
The shadows shall protect her.
Yes.
I'm sure the thing shadows will protect her from the other things in the shadows.
So,
I'm sorry to bug you now, but a while back, Grigori discussed with Alice his views on the Camarilla and the
Anarchs.
Yeah, the Anarchs. The Anarchists. I can't remember his opinions. Could you tell me again? He said leant more towards the Anarchs, but was loyal to the Camarilla because namesake?
Pretty much. It's more a case of the Banu Haqim are... Basically, the other vampires hated him for centuries. So they are in the Camarilla, but they're kind of still outsiders.
It's kind of a protection. It's a mutual protection thing. As we mentioned throughout the episode, a lot of different factions that used to be outsiders, like the Ministry, who were also known as the Church of Set, they have recently joined the Anarchs. The Banu Haqim, who were outsiders, from the Middle East, they've basically joined the Camarilla. And there are other factions, which we haven't got into yet, who kind of formed their own clan. There's and the Sombra, as we may have suggested in the past, they flat out left the Sabbat. So there's a lot of moving elements. The factories and the factions, everything's kind of fluid at the moment.
Yeah. For context, the Banu Haqim were the vampire equivalent of boogeymen. Yes,
they were. Back when Grigori was around, when he was first turned, they were not many people believed they even existed. They were like powerful assassins, sorcerers, and again, I didn't want to be too clunky with like the exposition dialogue at the beginning, but there is now a schism between the Clan Assamite, the ones who are currently back in the Middle East, and the ones who have fled the Middle East because something has woken up.
Yeah.
Nothing important though.
Yeah. That's absolutely fine, I'm sure, and it's not going to be an issue in any way, shape, or form.
I'm just glad everyone has paid attention to everything that Bluebird said. I wish that I had been here for the whole people freaking out. I was trying to send a message about it, like, what are you all doing? No! What are you all doing? just like the whole idea of like, what do you mean vampire? What do you mean werewolf hunt? I was going for a walk out in the park. It's not my fault. No one's told me where these werewolves are hanging out. Surely you're not going to impugn me by, demanding I cheat on someone or lie or demean anyone who's on any council on any side. I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Peacemaker.
There was definitely pieces left when you departed.
I had to defend myself. If you remember, there was the scary thing, which I'm sure everyone wants to know about. So you're welcome for me finding out about the scary thing.
Yeah.
Which no one has talked about.
There are many moving pieces to this story, and we'll uncover them piece by piece as time goes on. But with all that being said, thank you all for joining us. It is, as ever, a wonderful pleasure. Again, next week we're going to be doing something a little bit different, but if the stars align, our next story is going to be with Celia. And after that, perhaps depending on how things go, we might have all three of our players, or even more of our players, if we can do that, have everybody together. I would like... See, the original plan was everybody gets their own individual thing, but I actually do kind of like the idea of bringing more players in as it goes on. We'll see...
I think more like as cameos, yeah.
Yeah, I think that does work, and I appreciate you, the players, for actually sticking around, even though you're not playing for like hours upon a time. It is truly appreciated.
They want the juicy gossip.
Yeah. Yeah, juicy, viscous, flowing. But anyway. Thank you all for joining us. It has been a genuine pleasure. Be safe, be well, and we will see you all again soon.
Bye!
It's not like I've been able to move anyway.